It's Stefan here, founder and CEO of the Truth Network and Truflation.com. We grew out of Truflation.com and launched Truth Network. And a couple of things I'm going to talk about today, three basic things or four things. Number one, want to really congratulate EG and Tony for taking on the BLS. So really excited about that. So I'll go into that a little bit. We'll talk about Truth on Solana. We're on Solana, why we go into Solana, and why internet capital markets are super important, especially for growing indigenous, blockchain-centric crypto products, right? And how we at Truth Network are really focused on helping and enabling a lot of that. I'll come to that. Obviously, we had a huge announcement today and a huge drop in price due to this PPI, which is another BLS generated report. And so take it with a grain of salt, but the markets reacted heavily on that. Yeah, it's a fake, it's a punt, don't take that true. Yeah, I was watching Ron Neuner's at Crypto Banter, his show today, where he was actually going into exactly why he believes it's a fake out and it's a way to shake and rattle the market and retail investors. But the retail investors are strong. So really happy to see that. And then we'll go a bit into the opportunities going forward and why stablecoins are really a huge opportunity that's going to inject some $9 trillion into the market. We said $2 trillion in 2 years. Are we being conservative? I don't know. Let's go into this. Let's dig in. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching, and hope you'll enjoy this. I will keep it short, 20 minutes. That's my goal. And we are already 2 minutes in. Here we go. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, look over here, really happy to announce and share this, where together with Chainlink and the Solana Foundation, we got live on Solana. So it was amazing to have this kind of partnerships and the support from, number one, our Chainlink partner with their CCIP. The amount of work and support and lift that we got from Chainlink was really helpful, not to mention Solana, introduction from the Solana Foundation, their leadership team over there, and then ultimately their marketing team really digging deep and really helping us with the right kind of connections and support, not only at the foundation level, but also at a practical implementation level, where working really closely with Radium, the liquidity provider and partner on all of the DEXs across Solana, and the integration from Radium into the Phantom wallet. So now you have Truth in the Phantom wallet and with the nice Truth logo instantly, super fast. It was really good to see that synergies and the speed and the adoption and the simplicity and the support that that team gives and the passion that they have to build internet capital markets. I'll come to you on what that is and why we're so excited about internet capital markets and what that really means. Don't necessarily mean it means tokenizing the legacy infrastructure. It means building from the ground up new models and blending together what was created around NFTs, the culture that we have with meme coins, with all of these new AMM, automated marketing, DeFi protocols, yield-bearing opportunities. All of that is indigenous to the crypto native community. Let's build and continue to build products like that. What are the new products going to be? Index.fun is a resemblance of that, taking real world data, allowing anybody to create instantly a new index without having to go wait a year, pay $1 million, not even know if the market is going to accept it at that time. A year later, who knows where the market's going to be? And then lastly, being very limited in terms of assets. So with index.fun, you'll be able to compile all these different types. You'll be able to blend together the Pentagon pizza demand and long defense stocks based on the spike in traffic at the Pentagon pizza takeout shops. Number one, you'll be able to see OnlyFans surge in revenue, meaning adoption of luxury retail items. You'll be able to track the lipstick index. What is that? Go find out. Go read. about it on index.fun. What other indexes can be? The Doner Kebab Index was one that came up. So check it out. Go to index.fun and have a look at what they're doing. Really cool stuff. I'm so excited for what they're doing. They just are launching their creator tool that's now live, and their order book is coming in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned. That is going to be super exciting over there. And that is why we feel the need to get onto, so where are the traders? Where are the people that are really native to the blockchain? Sonic, a great community. Solana, a great community. And Binance, great communities that are really native and true to decentralization, DeFi, blockchain, and trying to build indigenous networks and indigenous products. Ethereum is also doing that, right? Very heavily building out, but they've got so much legacy. They've got everything already built out. But anyway, that's super cool. Yeah, that's there. Stay tuned. I'll share more with you as we go along, but I want to keep this tight. We'll share more around what we're doing. And I'll come to a bit more further down the road in terms of why the Truth Network is so important to internet capital markets and how it's bridging real world assets, real world events with AI and making that available on the blockchain. More importantly, we have E.J. Antoni taking over the BLS, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And we were super fortunate to host him on Spaces. So if you pay attention to these AMAs and these spaces that we do, you get to meet the rising stars of tomorrow by watching the on the chain, off the record, on the chain, or the AMAs that we do, or the spaces that we host. And here we had E.J. Antoni, we had Mike Zaccardi again. We did him, he came on again later this year. So we are showing and sharing with you some of the leading influencers. So go listen to the podcast if you want to, how he talks about the need for data, where and how will the BLS continue to report data, how and what kind of data will they report, or will they just provide a framework and be the brains behind structuring the framework and helping with the collation and the interpretation of that data. Look, I've said it many times before, at Truth Network and Truflation, we're really here to help. We'd love to support EJ and his initiatives however best we can. And in the similar way, we do it with Argentina, where we work with the Department of Commerce to track and bring their data onto the Truth Network. So it's available to everybody at the same time. Same data, all of its government data. You can get it on their website, but also you can have it available to integrate and have as a node verified and validated who the source is. So it's coming from the government, it's coming from the department, it's coming from the state, the county, wherever it comes from. You can verify all of that, and then people can aggregate it and work with it. So congratulations, really well, good candidate. Yeah, we really think he was a rising star and is now the star. So he's risen. Is he going to rise further? Who knows? But there's a lot of opportunity there. So with the BLS, obviously we can't neglect the fact that today we had an announcement around the PPI. Man, did those markets move, right? Look at this huge drop here. I don't know if you can see this, but look, Bitcoin, boom, dropped. Ethereum, boom, dropped. XRP dropped. All of Solana dropped. Everybody dropped. Dogecoin, Wrapped Bitcoin, here, what do we have here? Sui, Stellar, everybody tank here in the red. Hedera, oh man, Avalanche, Litecoin, huge drop, right? And it's significant. Let's just go into Ethereum. You can see a huge spike here. Let's go to 24 hours of boom, right? From 4.7 all the way down here to what do we have? 4.5. So 200 drop in pretty much, as soon as the announcement came out. Why? Because people were surprised. Now, everybody's going to try and tie it back to tariffs, right? So everybody's going to try and bring this back to tariffs. But as you can see, it's not tariffs, right? It's services. Services are up 1.1% year on year. and you look at the goods, they're up 0.7. Okay, you can argue the goods are up as well, but is that due to tariffs? And is it going to have a significant impact? It's more the services that have a big impact. But ultimately, also remember, we've seen a significant jump in salaries in the blue collar workers across the US. So Main Street is starting to earn more. Maybe that's also part of the reflection in here, where services up. Maybe services will come down with no tax on tips, and will tips come back and be a bigger portion of it? All of these things still uncertain, still need visibility into where this is going. But ultimately, what is the big question? The $3,000 question or the $5 million question? Obviously, we posted the same thing here. Okay, will it affect CPI? I don't think that's the big question. The big question that everybody's worried about is this one, is what will the Fed do on the 30th of September, on the 17th of September, sorry, when they come together and decide on interest rates. So will they drop interest rates? Will this PPI impact interest rates? And generally, we don't think so. We think there's going to be a drop coming. And the drop is going to be either 25 or 50 basis points. I, again, believe in 50 basis points. If you look at the odds that you earn, I like the odds that you can get at 50 basis points. If you talk to Vinnie Lingham, he'll tell you we may not even see any interest rate drops before the end of the year. Powell's going to go down fighting for and against interest rate drops. Either way, we had dissent in the last FOMC meeting, which is the first time since 1970s. So this is a huge change. And yeah, let's see where they come out. But this is the big question. This is why people were panicking. They thought this would change. And you can see here, right, from a 94% level accuracy that people thought there was going to be a drop is now 90%. So we went from 58.9 a month ago to 91.9 to now 90, yesterday 94.3 down to 90. So it's constantly swaying back and forth, and that is what's driving the changes. What other announcements are coming out soon? So check out Truflation.com, go to the calendar. So on Truflation.com, you can come here, you can go to resources, economic calendar, and you can see what announcements are coming. Tomorrow, monthly retail sales are coming. If you paid attention and were watching the announcements that Oliver made about inflation and the state of the economy in the webinar, if you joined our spaces, we talked about declining retail sales. Retail sales are down. What is this announcement going to look like? Are we going to see another drop? Does that mean prices will drop again? If there is an expectation that retail sales will drop, will be good, but interest rates will go up. Or the expectation that there will be a drop in interest rates will go up. So we'll go from that 90% back up to that 95%. So that's really what this is all about. Everybody's hoping a drop in interest rates. Why? That unlocks a lot of liquidity and ultimately gives a lot of more capital to be invested into assets. People will be buying assets. Why? Because assets appreciate above and beyond inflation. That is the idea. And if you think about it, we have inflation, we have debasement. Inflation or truflation right now is 1.87%. So it's not too much. We can handle that. That's good enough because the economy is growing greater than inflation, right? Right now, we have a strong economy, so that's good. But let's see where these numbers end up. That is the exciting thing out there. But what I wanted to do is, even despite that, right, we see more liquidity coming into the market. And I was just watching this post by Orbion, and we've written a blog post around 2 trillion in 2 years. So 250 billion or 300 billion maybe now in stablecoin market. It's going to go to 2 trillion, right? If not more. And so what we're highlighting here, and Mark Moss, who's got a great podcast as well, go check him out. He's been talking about $9 trillion in injection and capital market. And it's going to go to retail. You do not need to sell bonds anymore to these big federal banks and these big central banks anymore. You're selling them to anybody that wants to issue a stable coin. So Walmart, Amazon, You've heard about them talking about saving $300 million in fees, just pure transaction fees a year, because they can do their own coin and run that over the network and not pay all these settlement fees or toll takers along the middle of the journey. So that's just their fees. That's not looking at the toll takers along the way. But yeah, just imagine you can take that out and you can then have loyalty with your users. You can follow the velocity, you can follow the traffic, you can see where consumption associated with your marketplaces and your outlets. Shopify, will they have their own stable coin? All of these commerce platforms, what will they be doing? How will they be proceeding with stable coins? And then not to mention all the banks that have a lot of treasuries already, they'll be able to issue their stable coins. And this is what this blog, this tweet talks about, right? And Scott Besson's strategy around doing that. What does it do? It gives distribution. So this is an interesting graph where we talk about where he covers off the insights into how debt is structured, right? Remember, debt is structured at $37 trillion. That's the total debt, non-marketable, and then marketable, variable rate, fixed rate, tips, treasury, inflation protected securities. So those are bonds that have inflation protection associated with that. 7.2% of the total 9.3% of the 97% are used for that. So 7.2% of the total debt. That's about $3 trillion, not quite $3 trillion associated with tips issued by the government, right? That's not tips issued by corporates. Bills, notes, and bonds. Bonds are longer term, notes midterm, bills are short term. So you can see that a large portion is either in notes or bills, right? And so will the government change that structure and put that into a different place? But this is an interesting post, so I recommend you take a look at that post and see what is written up by Crypto Orbion. Yeah, anyway, it just goes into more detail how the dissemination and distribution is going to happen and how Europe's really going to struggle, or any other country is going to really struggle with the adoption, mainly because retail will be able to take their USDC or US dollar denominated stablecoin, and they will be able to have that. So where's the opportunity from an investment standpoint? It's going to be in who's providing the bridging, who's providing the atomic swaps, because all of these stablecoins are largely going to be built on EVMs. We've also heard Robinhood, Circle, Tether, all building out their own blockchains, right? Stripe also. So 4 new layer 1s or layer 2s coming to the market. So bridging functionality is going to be really important. Who does bridging? I think Chainlink with their CCIP. We've been working with them for many, many years now, and really happy to be a partner of Chainlink. So CCIP, you've got Layer 0, you've got Axelar, so you've got multiple different vendors. Who's going to be doing the atomic swaps for this? Okay, you're going to have custodial swaps where you go to centralized exchanges, or you go to new exchanges like the banks. They will be able to do the swaps for you. But you'll also need on-chain DeFi-related swaps, permissionless, anybody can access. Who are they going to be? Curve, Convex, Fluid, all companies that are doing and building solutions around this. Do your own research, check them out. But those are companies that are building in areas that are going to facilitate the fluidity and flow and accelerate the velocity of all of these stablecoins coming to market. Just naming a few. Yeah, so that was pretty much why we're excited. And why we're excited is, as all of this liquidity comes to market, what kind of products will they be looking to invest in, right? What kind of products could be out there that are of interest to people? And so we've been working together with Index.Fund on some really cool stuff. At least that's what I think. I mean, ultimately, I'll let you judge. But yeah, I mean, Index.Fund is allowing anybody to create. Why? Because we don't have the creativity. You have the creativity. You tell us what you think is creative, and we'll go find the data and make sure it's verified, accurate. Thanks to the Truth Network, it is attested and it is accurate, verifiable via truthscan.io. You can go and see what is out there and the data there. But yeah, you can dream up a whole set of new products. And I'm going to share with you some of the work that's taking place at Truth Network on at index.fun on the Truth Network. And here you can see Pentagon Pizza, right? Long night pizza trends, late night pizza trends, sorry, drive long signals on defense equities. So you buy defense equities when there is a huge demand around Pentagon takeaway, pizza takeaways around the Pentagon. So think about that. These combination tokens that are going to be created is going to be internet capital markets. These are indigenous, built out with the culture amongst the community in crypto land. And so that's going to be really interesting, being able to launch those instantly at no cost, validate them in the market. Do people like the donor index, the lipstick index, or even the Pentagon Pizza Index, or the OnlyFans Index? What do people like? Then how do we trade those? How do we find correlations? And the beauty is, together with AI, you can build these marketplaces agentically. So we will create new markets with a framework provided by the Truth Network with verifiable data that the agents can access and draw down on to learn how to build new adjacent markets associated with these data sets and these core culturally attuned and vetted indexes. Not only that, they will then be able to do the market making as well. So we'll have agentic market making for the long tail of these indexes. That's where the Truth Network comes in. And what I'm super excited about, and this is my last slide, is really how the Truth Network sits in the middle of all of this. So if you look in the middle, what do I've got here? We've got RWA. We have 100 million data points that we've already brought on chain. We've got them all verified. There's a truth scan where you can see who is uploading what kind of data, who is calculating with that data, in which indexes are incorporating what kind of data sets that are verified. So that's all RWA. We have AI. That is a huge movement. And then we are on the blockchain. So we have blockchain, RWA, and AI blended together into the Truth Network. And why is the Truth Network so important? It's SQL based. So what does that mean? It's powered by the most proven, tried, tested, battle-tested database in the market out there today, SQL. And so that's what we've built out. It's an SQL-based blockchain. You can write functions and features to the SQL decentralized blockchain databases. You can actually it has a Byzantine fault-tolerant consensus algorithm to verify and validate and attest against all that data. And so it is there to avoid AI hallucinations, right? And so that's really what we've built this out for. And as the market grows, as internet capital markets pour on chain, how do we ensure accurate settlement associated with any kind of prediction or any kind of info finance? That's what we're working on. I'll go more into this on the next show, but I just wanted to give you a sneak peek in terms of why Truth Network is so exciting for internet capital markets and why the Truth Network is going to be the validator for any kind of settlement associated with info finance on the internet capital markets. So thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this. Smash the likes, comments. I didn't see any comments. I wasn't reading anybody, but yeah, thank you, everybody. Talk to you later.